up, everybody? Jack here, coming at you from the DevSlope Southern Command Center. And we're back with our section on building an iOS client application to work with our API that we created. So far we have created our data models and we have created our services, one for authorization and one for just data. So now we're going to switch gears and turn towards our actual presentation and our views. So let's go ahead and flip over to main VC here. And we did this, we've already added this delegate in here for the data service. We're going to leave that alone because we'll need it. And on we're going to have a table view. So we need an IB outlet for that. And then we're also going to have an add button. Now our add button, I'm going to do something in these lessons that, a lot of people just throw a button on here, and I might normally, but I'm going to use UI image views and use gesture recognizers with them. Just the way that, obviously I've worked on this app, got a prototype running, and it just seemed like using images for these buttons because I'm using custom images, and it just seemed like using an image view worked out better with a gesture recognizer. So we're going to go ahead and add in our data service here. And I'm just going to have variables for the data service and auth service. Okay. And then we're also going to need a login VC, but we haven't created that yet, so I'm going to skip over that for now. We've already set our data service delegate. So we need to come down here, and like I said, I like to use extensions to organize my code. So we're going to do main VC, and we're going to have UI table view delegate and table view data source protocols. And then in there we're going to need number of sections for one, and we're just going to return one because we're just going to have one section. And then we're going to need number of rows in section. And right there, that is. And for that, all we've got to do is return data service dot food trucks dot count. If you'll remember, in our data service, we're loading up this food trucks array right here. So that's where we're going to get the count from. All right. And then we need self erode index path. So let me find that. Right there. All right. And for now, I'm just going to put return UI table view cell. We'll come back to that in a minute. All right. So that takes care of that. Now when reviews loaded, we're not going to do anything here. We've still got to put it there because it's part of the protocol. It's required. But we're not going to actually use that right now. We might add something into that later. Now on trucks loaded here, when we get that notification, we need to reload our table view. And we're going to go ahead and grab the main queue. And we're going to add an operation, and we're just going to say self.tableview.reload data. So just a simple fact, just in case we're on a different thread, we're going to grab the main thread and then reload data. All right. So now then, we can come back up here. We're already calling get all food trucks. And we can set our table view delegates. So, and actually right here, instead of doing this, we could just say data service.delegate because we've got this variable here now. So we can set table view.delegate itself and table view.data source itself. All right. So we're good to go there. Now we're going to need a table view cell. So let's right click on view and add a new file. And this is going to be a Cocoa Touch class. And this is going to be a UI table view cell. And we're just going to call it food truck cell. And create. All right, for a food truck cell, we're going to need some labels. Let me get rid of set selected. We're going to need some labels here. So we're going to have a name label is a UI label. We're going to have food type label is a UI label. And we're going to have average cost label. And it's also a UI label. All right, so we've got to wait from nib. We don't need to do anything there. We need a configure cell function. And in our configure cell function, we're going to pass in a truck, which is a food truck. And then here, all we need to do is say namelabel.text is equal to truck.name. We need to say food type. Food type label.text is equal to truck.foodtype. And then we need to say average cost label.text is equal to $, and then we will put in our value here, truck.average cost. All right. So let me save that. That should be all we need there. Let's turn our attention back to our main VC. All right. So we've got that. We've set our data source. Let's go ahead down here, and instead of just returning a UI table view cell, so we'll just say here if let cell equals table view dot DQ reusable cell with identifier for index path. So identifier is just going to be food truck cell, and index path is going to be just index path as a food truck cell. All right, so if that's true, then we're going to say cell.configure cell, and we're going to pass in our data service dot food trucks index path dot row, and then we just got to return the cell. All right, and then we can say else return just UI table view cell. So that should fix us up there. So here we're just DQing a reusable cell with identifier. And we're just configuring the cell is all we're doing, just like we've done many times through Mark's courses. All right. So let's go back over to our main storyboard. And first thing I'm going to do is go to editor, embed in. I'm going to put a navigation controller in here. And this is our main view here. And I am going to go to our navigation controller. And uncheck shows navigation bar. I don't want a navigation bar. So here I'm going to change our status bar to light content. All right. So I'm going to go down here and grab a UI view and put that right up here in the corner. And we're going to change the color on that. And Evan, our fabulous designer, gave me a hex code. I think it was 7C0000. Yeah. Kind of a nice maroon color. So we're going to use that. So we're going to use that, and I'm going to go ahead and pin it to the left, top, and right. And I'm going to give it a fixed height of about 65. All right, and then we'll go ahead and update. All right. No, actually, 65. And then I need to update the views. Okay. So there's our header. And then now we need a table view. Just a regular UI table view. And we'll just go ahead and pin that here. We'll pin it all the way around. Go ahead and update our views. And then for our table view, we need one prototype cell. All right. And then for our prototype cell, I'm going to click on it. And for the class, I'm going to change that to a food truck cell. Okay. So now I can pull this down just a hair. Now for our main VC, I do need to set this table view for now. And we need some labels on here. So let me get some UI labels here. So we need a label there that says food truck name. Now, this is obviously not going to be, we're going to replace this with our text. I'm going to go ahead and drag this all the way across. And then we're going to set the font to be custom, Helvetica New, and we'll make it about 18. And we're going to change the color on this to this maroon color as well. All right, so now we need another label. And we'll put that right there. And now this one, I'm going to make kind of a lighter gray color. We'll make it dark gray, but it'll be kind of a lighter color. And then I'm also going to make it Helvetica New, and I'm going to bump the size down just a hair. And then we need a third label. And this label here is the food type. And then this label here is the average cost. All right, so for our average cost, we're going to make it a green color. That one right there, I believe. All right, we're going to change it to Helvetica New as well. And we'll leave it, we'll bump it down one here. Let's go ahead and bump this one down one more. All right. So there's our cell set up. I think I need to run this up just a hair. All right. And on this cell, we're going to put a disclosure indicator on there so you'll know that you can tap the cell and go to a details page. All right, so now then, let's right click on our table view here. Or no, actually our cell. And we need to wire up our labels. So average cost is right there. Food type is right there. And then name label is right there. All right. So let's go back to our main VC. We've got those wired up. We've got our food truck cell wired up. So let's run it here and see if we got any errors. All right, so we've got a crash here. Let's see what that is. Oh, I didn't put the identifier in here for the cell. The reuse identifier is what was that? Food truck cell. So let's come back here. All right, so let's run it one more time and see if it builds and runs. Hey, looky there. So that's not looking too bad already. We've got our table view loading up data. I might could work on the spacing a little bit to get it better. But, for what we're doing here right now, I don't think that's too bad. All right, so there's our main view. So we're just about done with our main view here. We just got a couple of things left to do. And I need to go to my assets, and I need to add in some assets here. And so we're going to have one called logo. We're going to have one that's a back arrow. And then we're going to have one that's a plus button. All right. Now then, if I can find my assets here that Evan did for me. Let's see, the plus button first. We got 3 sizes here. And we need the back arrow. And then for the logo, I've got that saved here in my downloads file or folder. And I've just got one size for that. So there's our assets. So if we come back here to the main storyboard, I'm going to drag a label up here and change the color to white. And we're going to make it Helvetica New Medium. I'm going to bump it up to about 20 or so. Make it a little bigger, and I'm just going to say WTF. So what this app is, where's the food truck? So we'll center that. Now then, I need an image for our logo. So I'm going to drag an image view in here. And obviously we'll scale it down here to something like that. And then we will choose our logo. And we'll say aspect fit. So that's not too bad. I'm going to bump the size up here of the WTF. All right. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the height and width on our truck here. And then I'm going to select both of these and put them in a stack view. All right. Once I do that, I'm going to move my stack view around just a little until we get it to about the center. And I am going to pull up my alignment constraints. And I'm going to center it horizontally in container. And then I'm going to pull up my pin and I'm going to pin it forward from the bottom. All right, so that should take care of our logo there. Let's go ahead and run it again and see what we got. Okay, that's too big. So let's come back over here. Let me adjust these constraints a little bit. Let me just delete those. Whoa. I need to get rid of the stack view until I get that worked out. So let me rein this image view back in here. If I can. Get it back down to a decent size. Alright, so let me move WTF over here. We'll get that back down to a decent size. Alright, my food truck looks a little better that size, I think. So we'll kind of butt those guys up together here. Now then, let's go ahead and give it a fixed width and height. And put it in a stack view. Alright, that looks a little better, I think. Alright, so we need to align horizontally in container. And then I'm going to pin on 4 from the bottom. And then I'll redraw my views there. Okay, that looks a little better. So let's go ahead and hit run here and just give it a glance real quick. Okay, that looks much better, much better. So we've got our table view loading up here with all of our food trucks that's pulling it from our database on our local machine. We've got our logo up here. We're going to add a plus button here to be able to add food trucks. And then we're also going to have a details segue to go to a details page for each one of these. So far so good. We've got our main view knocked out pretty much. You can see here from our data service, we're getting our URL task, session task succeeded with our 200 response code. So everything is looking good. In the next one, I believe we're going to be building out the login view, because before you can post anything, you have to log in. So join me in the next video and we'll knock that out real quick.